Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this right here is Tom Clark's Main Event. What's up, kids? Welcome back to the show. It's Sunday. Hold on. Is this thing working? Got to get this thing fixed. It's not Friday. We've already done the Friday show, and if you missed that, boy, have you missed out. This is the Sunday show. We don't have a Sunday show, if I'm being honest. This is a special edition of the Main Event. This is our special WWE Elimination Chamber pre-show. How you like that, huh? Turns out the old boy does work weekends after all. Isn't that fun? Hope everybody out there is having a freaking phenomenal Sunday. I know I have. It's no longer raining in North Carolina. There's no threat of ice. There's no snow monsters out there trying to kill us all. I'm having a great day. And by the way, none of that is meant to make light of anything happening in the country. It just occurred to me that probably sounds horrible. So no disrespect intended. By the way, any of you watching today or just tuning in or whatever, or listening after the fact, if you are in Texas, all the best to you. We had several folks watching on Friday's edition of the Main Event. We were sending our best to them. We will continue to send our best to you. If you have a Wi-Fi connection, if you're able to watch me, hopefully that means that you're happy and healthy and safe and warm, hopefully, that you're making it through this nonsense that's going on out there. And of course, we wish you and yours all the best. For everybody out there who is watching today and have never seen the Main Event, you're doing life wrong, baby. We've been here since 2014. We're here all the time, almost every Friday. I can't guarantee anything because, life happens, baby. But almost every Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live right here on the Wrestling Rumors, Jack. If you're missing it, you're missing out, okay? So we've had guest stars here on the show before. We're going to get to your comments. I promise you. Everybody hold tight. I'm not going to ignore any of you, okay? Any of the regular Main Event crowd out there knows that I always get to as many comments as I possibly can. But we've got a lot of show to get to, a short amount of time to do it in. Actually, the WWE kickoff to the Elimination Chamber starts at 6 p.m., okay? But the actual Royal Rumble, we've already passed that one. We're really late for that show, aren't we? The actual Elimination Chamber show is taking place at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, without any further ado, let's bring on our guest for tonight's show. As I told you cats before, I'm now contributing as much as I can to Geek Vibes Nation. Our next guest here today is a contributor to Geek Vibes Nation. He actually appears on hosts one of the podcasts, I should say. That's kind of how we met. Everybody, please welcome to the show, Mr. Dane Alves. Dane, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you today?
I'm doing good, Tom. I appreciate you having me on the show. Contributing for Geek Vibes Nation for a very long time, one of the founders.
Awesome.
And primarily, before you got there, one of the guys that would be talking about wrestling on my show, Wrestling Geeks Alliance. And I am so happy to have a great, writer like yourself contributing for our product. That's amazing, man.
You're too kind, man. Thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. By the way, kids, this is Dane. Dane, these are the kids. A lot of these folks watch every Friday. They are the regulars. They're here all the time. We're going to go up to the top of this sucker and see who was first to the show. Carlos Martinez, a regular Main Event fan. Thank you very much for watching, my friend. Jason Michael Campbell, as always. This is Sandy in Germany, Dane. Sandy always says, "Guten Tag" to me every Friday. He's a loyal Main Event guy for sure. So is Victor Vasquez. Hello. Hey, Vic. What's going on, brother? Sandy, how are you? James, how are you doing, my friend? Shannon, this is Soundbite Shannon. Shannon's responsible for a lot of the sound bites on the show.
Awesome.
She's responsible for one, importantly, because whenever these guys, basically they say jump, I say how high? Let me just do that for you. And I'm going to go ahead and play a soundbite for Shannon because she loves it when I do this. And actually, I love it too. Shannon's favorite of all time is Cameron Grimes. It's hard to argue with her. So Shannon, this is for you.
You can kiss my grin!
Coolest thing ever. Coolest thing ever.
Oh, God. To the moon!
Yes. Funny you mentioned that. Wait for it.
I'm going to the moon.
Bam.
Oh,
Always prepared,
God.
baby. Always prepared. So, yeah, I had to get at least one of them out there before we started today. So, everybody that I have not said hello to, hello. What's going on? Byron in Scotland, welcome, my friend. Thank you for watching. We've always got viewers from across the pond, and we do appreciate your business as always. Thank you very much for hanging out. David down under in Australia. Good morning to you, sir. Good evening to me. So there you go. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Thanks for watching. All right, kids, if I didn't say hello to you, I promise you we'll get to you as much as I possibly can during the course of the show. If you have not been online today, you must be out enjoying some sunshine where you are, and good for you. I've been in my office up here for a lot of the day, and some breaking news for you. In case you haven't heard, we're going to share it with you right now. Let's get the ticker ticking so you know who we are and where you can find us and all that cool stuff. And let you know, in case you missed it, yes, this is Elimination Chamber pre-show. There you are. Breaking news today, kids. Keith Lee is out of Elimination Chamber. This thing was reported a few minutes ago, and we were kind of waiting around to see if WWE confirmed it. WWE has confirmed it as of, give or take, 12 minutes ago, I would say. They've confirmed it online. Supposedly he's injured. We don't know the extent of the injury, how bad, how serious, how not serious, hopefully that kind of thing. They're attributing the injury to Bobby Lashley, which makes perfect sense, keeps the heat going. Dane, what's your first reaction to Keith being out of this match?
I mean, it's unfortunate. But as far as unfortunate, a lot of the stuff they've done with Keith Lee since they put him on the main roster has been exactly that, a little bit unfortunate. So maybe this won't be that bad. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but knowing that his girlfriend suffered from COVID, I'm wondering, because they're usually not very, and I don't blame any company, this is AEW, WWE, whoever. A lot of times we find out someone has COVID way after the fact, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I hope Keith Lee, regardless, if it's an injury, I hope a speedy recovery, obviously. If it's anything else, same thing. But I'm assuming he probably would have lost, I mean to say. Sorry about that, Tom. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I don't know. But Bobby getting the heat is probably a good thing.
Absolutely. And I was going to say, unfortunately, I'm agreeing with you. I mean, we everybody, listen, folks, no one knows for sure here. I mean, we could both very well be wrong, but I mean, to Dane's point, from the moment Keith got to the main roster, it's been a whole lot of, what was that? At least from my end. And I can't often figure out what's going on. And it's through no fault of his own. His work didn't decrease. He didn't suddenly not know how to do this. He's as good as he ever was. But listen, guys, we all know the deal. NXT, main roster, two entirely different planets, sometimes two entirely different galaxies most of the time. I wish that weren't the case, but unfortunately it is. So here's the grand plan that the company has come up with. In case you guys were wondering, we're going to inform you right now. There will be a fatal four-way on the kickoff show tonight. Mustafa Ali versus Elias versus John Morrison versus Ricochet. And the winner of that fatal four will be on the actual Elimination Chamber card tonight to take on Bobby Lashley. And can I call him Matt Riddle? Can I say Matt anymore? Is that okay? Or is it just Riddle?
No, it's just Riddle.
So yeah, and that guy will be inserted into Keith Lee's place. So what do you guys think about this? Jason says, I hope Bobby Lashley destroys Matt Riddle. Dude, let me get your take real quick on Matt Riddle. What's your overall impression of the guy as an entertainer, as a wrestler right now? What do you think?
Well, I liked Matt Riddle a lot in NXT, and then before that in Evolve and in MLW. He had a lot of promise. I mean, the fact that he looks like a Von Erich, the fact that he used to be a UFC fighter, very credible with his skills, and now I feel like another person. I hate to say this, but since he's been on the main roster, he's like RVD from fucking 2005, just turned up to 60 with the dumb stoner gimmick. Something that RVD honestly was not a big fan of. I mean, we know that, Rob liked to indulge, if you will. But I feel like that's all that they have for Riddle, and I feel like honestly, he should be cocky, but I feel like he should be a badass heel that just, he's got this like I'm cooler than everyone, I'm better than everyone facade, or at least treated and booked like he was similar to NXT, and they don't do that. Instead, honestly, he's become go away heat when he's on television for me. Like when he's on, especially the promos, I'm just like, God damn it! Like, what are they doing? Apologize for the cursing, if you will.
Yeah, let's keep it clean there.
Sorry about that.
I honestly, I'm gonna be straight with you. I don't know that I've ever gotten it. I don't know that I've ever gotten him. I don't dislike him, but I don't know that I've ever gotten it. This hey bros, surfer, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just don't. and I don't diss him for having a gimmick and making money off of it, making a living off of it. All the best to him. For me personally, I don't know that I've ever understood it. I don't know that it's ever fit for me. I'm like you. I appreciated his work on the indie circuit. Also, me and my kid have been to several Evolve shows. Never got to see him because he'd already signed with NXT at that point. But I just don't. Again, I just don't know if I get it. I mean, he's one of those guys that I feel like you're not on the fence with him. That you either really dig it or you totally don't get it. And maybe I just don't get it. And I try. I feel like I've given him the benefit of the doubt more than one time. But I don't know, man. Every time I go back to Riddle with a clean slate and say, okay, just come at this, just like I said, clean slate, try to take this for what it is. I just can't. I can't embrace it, man. Maybe it's just me. I don't know.
No, I don't think it's just you. I think it's many people, and it's understandable. Especially how he's displayed on the main roster. I think that it's just not. That's why I thought maybe a heel turn would be good for him, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think that if he had ambitions to be going against Goldberg and Brock Lesnar in the future, this is not a good way to go about it, honestly. And probably creatives, not a lot of his fault per se.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not working.
And the idea of him going after Brock as long and hard as he did online and talking crap about Goldberg and all this other stuff. And I'm like, for a company that controls its social media to the point of strangling it to death, I just don't. I don't know if I get why guys like him are allowed to slip through the cracks, and no one has ever told him, hey Matt, dude, you need to ease up on the Goldberg stuff, man. We push him as a top face and you're kind of taking shots at him and you're not even on the main roster yet. And because he was doing a lot of that stuff when he was in NXT, and I'm like, yep. That part of it I've never understood either. And it makes you wonder, well, they're going to control social media to the point of throwing people off of a third-party way to make money, but they're not going to control a guy's tweets when maybe he shouldn't be saying some stuff. I mean, CM Punk has told stories before about they call him and say, we got to take that tweet down. He's like, why? What's wrong with it? No, you got to take it down. You can't say those things. And it was a simple comment, but yet Matt Riddle can go after their Hall of Fame guys and no one says anything about it. It's odd to me. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like he's got a free pass.
Yeah, I don't know. I just his gimmick is just silly. I mean, I think that's the easiest way to put it. It's so one-dimensional, and yeah, even though I like Goldberg, especially in the past and future situations, like the whole entire interaction with him and Matt, it was just kind of awkward on both ends. I don't know why they videotaped that and displayed it on the little documentary they had on the network, but I don't think anything's helping him. I know that apparently Vince saw a lot in him. From what I heard, it was like, he was almost making a Shawn Michaels comparison with like the coolness. And I don't get that at all. I think Matt is really good in the ring if you let him go bell to bell. One of my favorite matches, the one that he had with Timothy Thatcher before he actually left NXT, and some of the other matches that he had on there. But the way they're pushing him, like I said, he's just becoming a cartoon character, essentially.
Yeah, I agree with that. Damon says Riddle didn't get a pass for that. He got slack for it. Well, Damon, all due respect, we don't know what he got. We're going based off of what we've heard from certain websites reporting. We don't really know what was said to him unless both sides were to come out and address it. I mean, if they have, great, and I've missed it. But if they haven't, we don't really know what was said. Did his hand get slapped? Did they say, "Oh, keep it up. We'll just act like we don't like it"? I mean, we don't really know. I mean, that's that's part of the beauty of being a pro wrestling fan. A lot of us are just guessing, and we give forth our best analysis and our best guesses, best guesstimates, I should say. And we give forth what we think we'd like to see and what we think will happen. But a lot of it, man, is not really anybody knowing anything for 100%. Elvis says Ricochet should win. So, Dane, what do you think about the match? Who's going over in this match? And who's going to go on to face for the U.S. title and triple threat on the Elimination Chamber?
I don't know, man. I would love. I feel like they're just going to put it on, Elias somehow, and he's the least out of all four of them. I'd like to see get that opportunity. Ricochet's another one. I love Ricochet. Prince Puma was one of my favorite characters on Lucha Underground, but I don't see him winning that. I feel like if anything, he'd probably get destroyed again. And John Morrison, someone I would have loved to have seen featured when he got to WWE in a bigger light. I wish that he was going in matches against Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles and stuff like that, but he's been Mrs. Lackey, so I don't see him getting it. It's going to come down to Mustafa Ali or Elias, and hopefully it's Mustafa Ali who comes out with it. It makes sense towards storyline. It makes sense towards a lot of things, and I believe Mustafa Ali would look it. I don't want him to beat Bobby Lashley because I like the trajectory they're going with Bobby, but if they were to, out of anyone on that lineup, it would be Ali. But if this is a case where they took out one guy to put in one of these guys, Bobby's probably going over regardless.
And let's see, we got a thought from Damon here. He went after Lesnar for the comment of him being a better UFC fighter and wanted to face him. Lesnar cursed him out. It wasn't a big hype. It was reported about WWE. Well, I mean, that's fine. I just, I don't know. I mean, Damon, listen, part of my comment to your statement is, if you're Brock, do you care? Why would he care?
No.
I mean, do you know what I'm saying? Why would he? I mean, if Brock really did get mad, it's almost like, well, don't get mad. Just ask Vince for a match. And it's not like this is the old West where it's, put me in the ring with him and I'll show him. That's not, listen, kids, for anybody out there that thinks that there's revenge matches, like there is no such thing. And if a promotion does that, shame on them. This is not about, well, I'll take it out on them in the ring. Shame on you. You're not a good worker. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. As somebody that's been involved in pro wrestling promotion before and currently, that's not how you settle business. That's not how you do business. You settle business in a conversation like two grown men should. And then when you get in the ring, you protect each other. That's what this is supposed to be about. It's not about Brock getting in the ring and going, I'll show that kid. I'm going to shoot on him. Brock's not going to do that. Brock has sold and taken moves from guys and made them look like $1 million. Maybe he don't put everybody over, but he's professional in the ring. So for anybody out there thinking that that's what's going on, I'm telling you, that is not what's going on. I mean, for sure. I mean, there might be, you get stiff with each other and stuff, work a little snug, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But, and Damon, not that you were doing that, brother, but I mean, for anybody out there that just thinks, well, they should put him in the ring. What? That's like, when Cena was on top and the king of the world, people be like, well, man, they should put him in the ring with so-and-so. And I'm like, what are you suggesting, that someone's going to intentionally try to hurt him? They're not bounty hunters out there. Like, it blows my mind when I hear stuff like that.
As much as everyone wants wrestling to be a shoot sometimes, that's just not going to be the case. I mean, especially with someone like Brock Lesnar. Look, I know Vince looks at Brock, I think, very similar to how he looked at people like Andre, Taker, Hogan, as being a cash cow. The only difference that separates Brock, I think, from those three other people is his passion in wrestling is very different than most. I think he shows up, he makes he gets his paycheck for doing exactly what he's told to do, and when it comes down to it, he doesn't think about wrestling until the next time he comes in. So I hate to tell people, but I don't think he gives a shit about Matt Riddle. I would be surprised if he even, thinks about him at all. Like, I think it's just a separate I think it's a separate thought process than a lot of the big names that Vince has looked to as cash cows with Brock. I don't think I would not be surprised, Tom, like I said, if he's never really thought anything of Mr. Matt Riddle.
I agree with that. I'm on the same page with everything you just said, for sure. I keep seeing, listen, guys, just so you know, we'll have to they're on you about these guys hear me say this stuff all the time, so that's why they're giving you crap right now. So just so you know. Uh,
Oh,
about-
I'm not in the chat section, so I don't
are you
see
not?
it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'll
no,
do-
I'm just trying to make the camera look good, so I'm not
got
paying
you.
attention
No
towards
worries.
anything else. Yeah.
No worries. Let's see. I'm seeing a lot of comments right now about firing Charlotte. Dude, okay.
Oh man, they're gonna
Listen,
be on me even more so in a second.
well,
I'm
listen,
sorry.
everybody here should be aware of one thing. The minute you start talking about firing a talent is the minute maybe it's time to stop watching. If you're
Yep.
that passionate about it, maybe you're too passionate. And when you start wanting somebody to lose their job, that is disgraceful. And I don't care what anybody says. Tell me I'm wrong. I don't care. Okay. Charlotte's rich, Tom. I don't care what you think. If you start wishing someone to lose their job, that is sad. That's pathetic. No disrespect. But dude, gauge your reactions. My God, this is pro wrestling here, dude. This is not curing cancer, for crying out loud. I wish she would get fired. Dude, stop. Why? What's your reasoning? Because someone will take her place that you'll hate and you want them to be fired. None of this is going to work out the way you want it to, kids. Everybody should know that by now. Dane, you know that. None of this is ever going to work out the way we all want it to. Sometimes you got to take the good with the bad and grin and bear it and try to live with it.
Yeah, I apologize to anyone that. I mean, I guess look me up on Twitter. We can have a conversation about it. Dane Alves 42. I always say that on my show as well. But I mean, this is going to be something that people don't want to hear. But Charlotte Flair, obviously, she doesn't have the best moonsault to the outside. I know that's a lot of people's complaint. But when it comes to a wrestler, especially pure all the way around, not only do I think that she's gotten away from being Ric Flair's daughter, but I think she's in the top 5 best performers in the company, period. So, I don't know.
I'm not going to disagree with that. Honestly, I won't. I don't think I can. Talk about somebody that, and listen, I'm going to say the words earned it, and everybody's going to go, she's Ric Flair's daughter. But, I mean, Ric's not wrestling for her. He's not working the matches for her. She has to do that. I mean, she's not faking the armbar. She's doing her part, and she started off here. Now she's here. She got better. That's the whole point, is that you get better. And she's gotten much better over the years. I just don't agree with, I don't agree with a lot of the stuff I hear about Charlotte. It just makes me nuts, but that may be another podcast for another time. Let's get into the main card here, kids, shall we? Shayna Baszler, Nia Jax versus Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. That'll be women's tag team championship match. Who you got in this match, man? What do you think?
Oh, I just don't see a smart booking decision if they're going with what I think they're going with Bianca Belair versus Sasha for them to get the title. So I'm assuming something's going to happen with the ladies that's going to cause some type of distraction that will inevitably have Nia and Shayna picking up the win. I don't necessarily want that. I'm sure that the whole concept is going to be referenced for some reason within this match, maybe talking smack before with each other, something like that with Nia. But I really think there's a theory going around, Tom, and I have no clue if you've heard about this. This is just rumor and people talking, but the concept of how Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai have won a chance to be able to go against the tag champions, I think that's going to be pushed to Mania. And I feel for a match, based on their history, maybe Dakota Kai ends up getting hurt or whatever, and Raquel has to go to Rhea Ripley to become a partner, and that will be the tag team, the women's tag team championship match will be Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler against Rhea Ripley and Raquel Gonzalez. I have no insight or anything like that. That's just been conjecture, and people have been talking about it, but I would love that to be the outcome. Regardless, I don't think Bianca Belair and Sasha are going to win that.
That's an interesting theory. And the idea of playing that far out. I mean, look, Gato in New Japan books a year out, and I think it's smart. Now, as injuries happen, he adjusts his booking, and that's the way to go about it. This stuff used to be booked for months and a year ahead of time for most of the major companies. But as we know, or as we've been told many times in the past, Raw is rewritten an hour before it goes live. So, I mean, who's to say what's real and what's not? But I could totally see them going that route. And, the idea of all right, Daniel Miller, my friend, you're about to get kicked out of this chat, brother.
Oh,
In fact, goodbye, my friend. I gave you a chance. I'm not going to put up with that nonsense. Anybody's going to be disrespectful to the talent, I don't care what company we're talking about, you can get off my show. Get off my show. This is on my Facebook page and 2 others as well. I'm not having it. Check your attitude at the door, kid, because I'm not having it. Next. So I don't often have to play bad father here on the show, but if I do, I'll get the wooden spoon and do what I got to do, Dane. I don't even care.
Absolutely, man. So I'm assuming maybe the conversation, if that were to happen, Triple H should be like, Dad, we got this one, Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai. They're supposed to be, shut up! And that's probably the argument of how it happens, and then Vince does what he wants. So
very good, very good. And I assume that Hunter would have that mythical, no one's ever seen it, golden shovel that he buries all the talents with because that's what he does, right?
Except for Batista, Randy Orton, John Cena, who I'm, yeah. I got a shovel and when I hit him. I thought he hit him. I don't get it because I thought he hit him with a sledgehammer, but it's always been a golden shovel. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you. No kidding. And again, that may be another conversation for another time. But that's get me started on that. We might be here for the rest of the day. I don't know. Elvis says Banks is turning on Bianca tonight. Elvis, I'm with you. I think that's where we're going. This thing about who's my most worthy challenger? Oh, she is? Wait, we're a tag team. How'd that happen? They've done this a million times. They're going to do it again. They'll probably do it again tonight. Yeah, I would not be surprised at all. Shannon says we can all agree that the women's tag team titles will be better used in NXT. From your lips to the ears of God, Shannon. 100% right.
Yep.
So, yeah, for sure. Let's get to the next match here, kids, and get everybody's thoughts on it. We touched on this already. For all of you tuning in now who maybe didn't catch at the beginning, Keith Riddle is out of the Elimination Chamber match tonight, out with injuries, what WWE.com is reporting. The news broke earlier on a lot of the websites, and WWE has now confirmed it. Keith Lee will not be a part of the show tonight. So we're looking at Bobby Lashley defending the United States Championship against Matt Riddle, and the winner of the Fatal 4-Way, which is going to take place in the kickoff show set to start in just a few minutes here. And that's going to be between Mustafa Ali, Elias, John Morrison, and Ricochet. So, Dana, I don't know if I got your full-on prediction here, but I tell you what, give me the one you don't think will happen, and we'll just roll with it and see what happens. Give me the one that you would like to see, but maybe it's not going to happen.
Ricochet. Him or Morrison. I mean, I just don't, like I said, I think Ali will probably get it inevitably. I could see them doing this with Elias for some reason. And I'm sorry, I actually like aspects of Elias. I think he's gotten better in the ring. I think his character's been good, but the way that he's been booked does not, for a long time, similar concept to Cesaro. If you're a fan that's been watching for a long period of time, you should not look at this person as being a suitable replacement, champion, whatever, because of what they've done with him in the past. So, and that even goes more so against Ricochet, John Morrison. So I'm going to go Mustafa Ali. I think it makes sense, especially since whatever they call it.
You freeze on me a little bit, brother. Your connection might be a little weak. I don't know. I can't hear you at all now. Hopefully we'll get you back here in a few minutes. So I'm going to echo what you said. I'm going to hope that Ali comes out with the win here. I don't know if I could call Ali a diamond in the rough, but I feel like maybe he was sort of one of those gems that they sort of always had but didn't give enough time and attention to. So maybe that's what we're looking at right now. I'm not really sure. I would love to see Ali get over in this match and actually go on to compete for the championship. Dane, we got you back.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
I don't know what happened.
No worries. We've all struggled with the signal before. I know I have more than one occasion, no doubt about it. Yeah, I was just saying, I echo your sentiments. I hope that Ali ends up getting the nod here. And as I said just now, actually, I don't know if I can call him a diamond in the rough, but maybe an uncut gem that they sort of always had, but maybe they didn't know how good he could talk. But, man, he has been a revelation to anyone that's never really listened to him, and through no fault of their own, because he never really got time on the stick before, but now he does. And it's like, wow, man, this guy can talk a streak. This is crazy. I mean, I'd love to see him finally get something in this company.
Yeah, especially, I mean, as bad as some things like with Dominic and Mia being a part of Retribution and not being able to get like a chance to shine as themselves, the one silver lining I would say was Mustafa Ali in all of it, because he has gotten a chance to approach the mic and be a character. And the stuff that he said on, I don't know if it was the Monday Night Raw after show, the SmackDown after show. It was the Raw after show. That's because he's on Raw. He's really good, man. And might I say, he kind of reminds me very similar of a CM Punk style concept.
I agree with that.
An approach. It just, the whole entire Retribution thing might pull him down a bit. But I really hope that if anyone's going to go against Bobby Lashley and have a good match, he would get the rub.
I agree with that. Victor says it's the Fiend cutting the broadcast. Well, you never know. You never know, kids. Maybe the Fiend was responsible for getting Dane kicked off just now, which means he'll popped up behind me and I'll have to run, I guess. That's what Bray used to say. I know, right? Dude, I love Bray. I have loved Bray from the moment the Wyatt family got there. I hate that we'll never see a full Wyatt family reunion. All the best to John Huber's family, of course, as we always say here on the show. All the best to his family, of course. I hate that we'll never get to see a full-on Wyatt family reunion ever again. But as far as Bray is concerned, I feel like, yes, the Fiend is a lot of him, obviously, his creative ideas. A lot of it is them just wanting to see that he is indestructible and doing all this stuff to get him over in the past few years. And it's kind of off topic right now, but man, what do you think about the whole Fiend gimmick? I mean, he comes back tonight. Let's say he comes back exactly the same as he was before with no change. I mean, should he come back tweaked a little? Should he still be doing the mask? Should he still be the exact same character? Should they do a little something different? What do you think?
The Fiend was such an awesome concept. I think Bray Wyatt's a very intelligent mind when it comes to wrestling. He reminds me of like a modern day Kevin Sullivan almost, like his grasp on the wrestling industry and having this mystic style character. What's killed him, unfortunately, I hate just completely reaming creative over at WWE, but Vince, he came off hot, like with that character, the entrance. I remember my friends that don't watch wrestling asking me about like, what's this horror character in wrestling? And me also.
Oh, Dane, we've lost you again, brother. Woo! This is going to continue to be an issue today, kids, I'm afraid. Dane's having technical difficulties. So, kids, if you're just tuning in, this is Elimination Chamber pre-show. There he is. He's back.
I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry, man. But, yeah, I think The Fiend is great. I think that maybe I shouldn't be talking bad about it. Maybe he's messing with the connection, like you said.
Never can tell.
It's not Bray. And Bray's matches aren't, I will say, the greatest matches a lot of times. But that whole Seth Rollins and him in the Hell in a Cell, I think, started just axing at the credibility and the creativeness. And I feel like outside the John Cena stuff at last year's WrestleMania, a lot of it has been like reinterpreted by Vince. And that's why a lot of it hasn't come off as cool as it did when it first happened. I mean, you got to understand, if Sting was Batman, if you will, the Crow Sting, he was coming off like the Joker version of that type of concept. And I just don't think that it's had as much steam. And I think that a lot of stuff that they've done, minus, I like the stuff with Alexa Bliss. I really do. I think that that's kind of cool. But I don't want to see Bray Wyatt against Randy Orton at WrestleMania. And I hate to jump to that again, but I feel like that's the pace and that's the direction they're going.
Yeah, and see, I'm sort of on another page as you. I've not enjoyed any of the Alexa stuff. And this is going to sound like I'm just hating on her, and I don't mean it to. I've never not liked her as talent. It's nothing to do with her personally. Any comments I make on any of the thing I do on the show or anything I write or whatever is never meant to be taken personally because I don't insult the person. I just don't care for what she's doing. I've never believed it. I've never bought it. I think what started off as a cool Harley Quinn Joker thing got to be way too unbelievable, at least for my taste. I can't embrace it. I've tried the contacts, the change of gear, the staring into the camera. It's almost like All right, look, you got to look over here, honey. Look, the camera's right here. Be sure you stare real mean at it. It's just that kind of thing makes me nuts. It's just this idea of she's so overproduced and directed, and I'm not mad at her. For me, what I enjoy, it takes me out of the moment when I understand, when I know it's so overproduced, I immediately get sucked out of it. Now, maybe I should get past that, being a pro wrestling fan for X number of years now, but it's hard for me to get past it, man. I try, but it's difficult. You know what I mean?
My biggest thing is when Asuka was completely terrified of her. I was like, really? We're going to do that?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And it looks like there's a good chance it's going to be Asuka versus Alexa Bliss at Mania for the title, and I wouldn't be surprised if Alexa doesn't get it. I think I was just being a little bit nicer, I guess, on the whole Alexa thing, but I do agree with you on a lot of stuff just being completely unbelievable. I mean, The Fiend is unbelievable, but at least there's that layer of scariness that he inhabits that I just don't think that it's working anymore based on what they've been doing with the character itself. I'm sure he's going to come back and destroy Randy Orton tonight. Maybe he burns his face again so we can see him have bandages one day and then be miraculously fine the next week. I don't know. That would be cool, I guess.
Entirely possible. Nathan Workman, where'd you go, Nate? Nate Dogg in the house, the producer of the main event, great friend. If the Iconics aren't in the Elimination Chamber, I'm not interested. Nate is a huge Iconics fan. And again, Iconics are one of those teams you either love them or you hate them. So, Dane, what do you think about the Iconics? We've lost Dane again. Kids, we are cursed today. This is what I get for going live on a Sunday, everybody. We are cursed. This thing has become too unwieldy for us, I suppose. Something's going on. So, Nate, to your point, I'm not a huge Iconics fan. I do, however, agree that they had massive chemistry. We'll see what they do with them moving forward, but I'm not really on board with those two as a tag team. There you are. I think we're cursed, Dane.
I don't know, man. I guess I can go in my living room if the Wi-Fi. That's what it keeps on telling me, is that maybe my Wi-Fi is messed up. But
could be.
Never had this problem. I feel a little bit embarrassed, like my skirt's off or something like that.
Nathan also says Dane loves the Iconics so much he froze up at the mention of their names. So there you go.
Iconic.
Yeah, there you go. He'll appreciate that you did that. Let's see.
There's a tag team that did not need to be split up from WWE Creative, but for some reason they were. I mean, even though good in the ring, but what the hell's the point of them separate? But
Tony says, I don't like the Iconics, but Billie Kay was entertaining at the Rumble. She's much more entertaining than I ever gave her credit for. I will say that. I'm not going to say she's growing on me. All I said was that she was entertaining. That's all they're going to get from me. Let's see. What are the comments we got? Let's see. Maddie, where'd you go, brother? Maddie says, AJ Lee should have been with the Fiend. Just a thought. Maddie, I'll tell you the same thing I told everybody on the show every time they mentioned the possibility of AJ Lee coming back. They fired her husband on their wedding day. And if I were AJ Lee, I wouldn't want to do anything more with that company. Not now, not ever. Now, will I be wrong? It's entirely possible. Maybe one day we'll see AJ Lee back in WWE. Maybe we'll see CM Punk. Maybe we'll see both. Maybe we'll see neither. I don't have any idea. But this is just all speculation. We have completely lost Dane from the Fiend, kids. Maybe we'll get him back. Everybody, hang on. Tom Clark's Main Event's been a one-man show for practically 8 years now. We'll just keep on rolling and don't miss a beat. Timothy, you forgot, brother. It's okay, man. No worries. No worries, man. Thanks for tagging along, dude. Thanks for being here. Let's see. Nate says AJ Lee has zero interest in returning. I think you're right. I don't think I've ever read or heard anything from her that would suggest to me that she's interested in coming back to the fold. And I can't say as I blame her, if I'm being honest with you. Can't say as I blame her. Too much drama, dude. Too much drama. We're going to go ahead and push forward here, kids. Let's talk about the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka versus Lacey Evans. Now, as of this moment right here, to my knowledge, Lacey Evans is still in this match. She's still being advertised on WWE.com. Let us be sure here, folks. No, that match has been taken off the card. How do you like that? That match has been taken off the card, kids. She is no longer defending the Raw Women's Championship. There you go. So that must have just happened in the past hour or so. So let's take that banner down and let's fix it. So everybody knows what's going on. Asuka versus Evans for the Raw Women's title is off. It's no longer happening, okay? It is not happening on the show tonight. Now, chances are they will revisit this in all good time. As Dane suggested, it probably and very well could happen at Mania. We shall see what goes on. In the meantime, what do you guys think about the whole, we talked about this very briefly on the main event on Friday, the Friday edition of the main event, dude. What do you guys think about the whole idea of the Lacey Evans Ric Flair thing? Because as I told you kids before, they weren't going to go to this. Supposedly that was not going to be the plan. There's not going to be any romantic entanglements between the Nature Boy and Lacey Evans. That this thing was just going to be professional, as he claimed in storyline. They were going to tease it for a little bit, but then not pursue it. But then Lacey's pregnant, and they had Rick blurt out what he blurted out, something about being the daddy or whatnot, whatever kind of hot garbage that was. And for any of you folks watching who expected me to hit the button, I'm not a monkey that's going to dance for you. Actually, I am.
Hot garbage.
There you go, kids. That's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what we're looking at here, but we'll see what goes on moving forward. Hopefully, we will see Asuka versus Lacey Evans at some point. But as I said, it has indeed been taken off the show as of right now, this moment. Let's see. Jamel calling a hot garbage. I got you on that one, my friend. No doubt about it. Looks like we've got Dane back. Dane, welcome back to the show. The Fiend is determined to get you out of here, brother.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone that's watching. I just went and restarted my router. Apparently, everyone in the house is having some Wi-Fi issues, so I don't know. Love technology. Here's a kitty. Don't get mad about it. All right.
Well,
cool.
that'll make up for it. The cat makes up for everything. So
There you go.
Anybody that watches the show knows that my dog usually hangs out right there on the corner of the futon. The door is shut today, so the dog is downstairs with mom. So, usually he's hanging out with me during the main event. So, in case, and Dane, you may have already known this, but they have taken the title match off the card. Asuka is no longer defending against Lacey Evans. That thing was left up all day long on WWE.com, not being reported on, not being talked about. I said on the main event on Friday that, supposedly this whole thing between her and Flair was never meant to be a romantic deal. It was just meant to be what Rick said in storyline. He was giving her advice, and they were supposed to be a professional relationship. But then Lacey ends up pregnant for real, and I guess they said, well, screw it. Let's just say that Rick's the baby daddy. Dude, I hate this. I don't know why they insist on doing something I guess because it's Rick and he's a nature boy and all that stuff, but I don't think it was necessary. They could have told a good enough story without it being, well, Rick might be the dad. Dude, this stuff kills me, man.
So, bro, you know what, bro? I'm from New York, bro, and I'm back on the creative team, bro, and I got an idea, bro. That's what this reminds me of, is a crappy Vince Russo freaking storyline.
Yes.
Man, here's the thing that they didn't learn with Randy Orton, Tom.
Yes.
If you're going to have Mr. Ric Flair a part of something, especially compared to what they're doing, I hate to say this, with AEW, with certain people that were past wrestlers, let him cut promos as Ric Flair. One of the things that he has left is that he's still Ric Flair on the mic. They have not done that. They didn't do it with Randy Orton. They let him get punked out completely and destroyed, and then his daughter goes after him. And I'm so sick of seeing Ric Flair get emasculated that I guess the concept of him being the older, the dirty old man, with Lacey Evans, it wasn't as bad, I guess, to a lot of people. But it's still completely unrealistic. I hate saying that because we're talking about pro wrestling, but we know that she's married. That's been established on a network. We know that Ric Flair's married. So that whole entire aspect of it is just silly. And the pregnancy obviously came at a bad time, but really, I mean, was this good for Lacey anyways to have this? If you're going to have a legend, let someone get the rub off of it. And I don't feel like Ric Flair has been used properly. I'd way rather him in some other capacity, cutting promos for someone and really elevating someone. And that's not what's happening. I hate all of this, actually.
I want to see Rick with somebody. I want to see somebody that maybe we've always talked about. Maybe one day so-and-so could be champ. And then that guy gets there because of Ric Flair. And it's all laid at Flair's doorstep that, hey, I never would have gotten there had it not been for Ric Flair. And Ric Flair becomes the Paul Heyman for that guy, where he can accompany him to the ring every night, where he can cut a really quick promo. This is my guy right here. And the guy in question, I don't know who we're talking about, but whoever is throwing it back to Rick and saying, you know,
I have an idea.
Hit me.
Adam Cole, baby. You want Adam Cole to get over the whole entire size concept? They're not going to let Sean do it with him, obviously, even though Sean loves him. But if Sean loves him, there's a good chance he can tell Rick, hey, this is a guy that needs some help. He can cut promos. You guys can go back and forth and have like a Nick Bockwinkel, Bobby Heenan style concept. And you can really shine him up because it's worked in the past for AJ with Rick. It's worked in the past with Randy Orton with Rick. If he sees something in someone, and Jay Lethal for that matter too. But if anyone needs someone to have a credibility aspect added to him, if he's going to get over on the main roster, and I'm not someone that thinks that NXT is like so much more below, because honestly, with Raw at least, you know, I think NXT does well against it as overall as a show, better than Raw in my opinion, probably because of 3 hours and creative reasoning. But you know, Adam Cole is someone that's been on NXT for a very long time. If they were to bring him up, pair him with Flair, I mean, essentially, I would say Adam Cole was the Ric Flair to his unit, so you could have that and people would accept him more, since his size, I guess, has always been a worry on the main roster with fans and also critics alike.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I love Cole, and we got to meet him at an Evolve show. 2019, I guess it was. Great guy, really nice guy, and very personable. And you know, if you meet any of the talents and are able to talk to them face to face, the best ones have the same traits. Matt Hardy's got it, Adam Cole's got it. They will look you in the eye and shake your hand, ask you what your name is. And I think the first one that on that level to ever do it to me was Matt. And it's just that sense of this guy's very sincere. He's very humble. He's just one of us. And Cole really comes off as just being one of the guys. And dude, I don't hate your idea at all. I love it actually. And Randy's already gotten the rub. He's already Randy Orton. But maybe Adam Cole could become Adam Cole thanks to Ric Flair. I mean, it's the guy's already got a tremendous career behind him. But what more could he have? With Flair by his side, dude, I'd buy that all day long. Shane says Flair manages Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. I could buy that as well. Holy crap. Yeah. Sugar Shane Odom. Thank you, my friend. Great
like
point.
Like a Midnight Express concept almost with the three of them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. It's so funny because they've got MVP doing it. They've got Heyman, of course.
Yep.
They've got sort of Chad Gable, maybe. But like, I don't know. I don't know. You don't have to call them managers. I mean, God bless it. Supposedly, Vince hates managers, pal. Well, don't call him that. Call him something else. He's a nature boy. He's got many nicknames. Just call him Nate. Just say that, you know, Nate's is my guy, and he's at my left hand. When I need somebody, he's right there. What about Ricardo says this is good? Rick and Andrade. Would that hit too close to home for the Charlotte thing? Because you know fans would call him out on that, don't you think?
Oh yeah, but it was really discouraging to find out that apparently Vince doesn't see a lot in Andrade and Aleister Black, because I find both of them to be just top competitors if they were given the chance. And obviously Charlotte is with Andrade. So yeah, you could kind of go into that, honestly. I mean, I would love that, because one of the things that Andrade doesn't have going for him, as much as I think he is very Randy Savage-esque in the way that he comes off intense and great in-ring performer, great heel, his one thing that keeps him back, if you will, with the audience is his lack of English. And it's not really his fault. I mean, we've seen him as an amazing performer on NXT get build up with, Selena in his corner, obviously. All that's taken away. If you put Ric Flair with him and even channel them against Charlotte, have like a brother-in-law type aspect or something, they could really do some really cool stuff with Andrade. I love that idea. Kitty, get out of
Guest appearance. We have had animals here on the show all the time, so it's all good. I love Rick. Rick's greatest of all time, and I'm not going to debate it with anybody in the gallery today, because hopefully most of my audience agrees. But and listen, I'm glad Rick's getting a payday. I'm glad he's there. Ric Flair in 2021 should be getting a payday from a major pro wrestling company. And if it's not Vince, it should be Tony Khan. There should be a major pro wrestling company putting a check in that man's pocket. And I don't care what anybody says. Well, Tom, Rick needs money, and save your crap. I don't want to hear it, because it's Ric Flair and he's the greatest of all time. It's like saying that Michael Jordan wouldn't be welcome in your arena. Are you kidding me? He's Michael freaking Jordan. He's greatest of all time. Don't tell me he's not welcome. Like, Jordan would have a place in my organization any day of the week, whatever he wanted. If I could make it happen, I'd make it happen. To me, it's the same with Flair, man. And on that note, before we go any farther, let's hit a button here, kids. Why not? Woo! There we go.
Woo!
Got to get in there, baby.
Just got to make it happen, man.
That's right. Let's keep moving, kids. We've been on there almost an hour here, folks. How about that? Let's talk about the Elimination Chamber match with Drew McIntyre, Matt Hardy, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Kofi Kingston, Sheamus for the WWE Championship. What's your pick on this, man? What are your thoughts on it?
If they're not putting it on AJ because they don't see something in Drew going forward, I think Drew McIntyre needs to win this. There's a very big possibility it comes down to him and Sheamus, and he puts down Sheamus, and Sheamus and him have a match at the next pay-per-view before Mania. But man, let McIntyre keep this match. I really, no one else. I love Kofi Kingston. I don't think that he's going to have the same year as he had beforehand. I don't want Orton to get it. I could see something happening with the Fiend involved with him. It's if you don't want to all of a sudden keep AJ as your, the bulldog or whatever, the pit bull, whatever Vince calls him, to make the Mania match. You keep it on Drew McIntyre. You keep it down to the three of those people, Sheamus, AJ, and Drew overcomes them, and then him and Sheamus go at it. Maybe AJ takes out Sheamus or something like that, and then he just kicks AJ really quick, gets the win. Sheamus calls BS because of the fact that he was taken out by AJ and not Drew. They have it at the next pay-per-view, and then Drew McIntyre is on for Mania against whoever. Now, I have no idea who Drew will be going against at Mania, but you can worry about that when you worry about that, I guess.
I mean, it seems to me like they would have a much easier time putting Edge against Drew. And it makes more sense for Edge and Roman. Yeah. I get it. It totally makes more sense. I get that, folks. I do, especially after last night. Or Friday night, I should say, excuse me. But at the same time, if Drew doesn't have a great top 5 challenger, then Edge is a great guy to challenge him. So it's kind of like, why not put him on there? There's symmetry there, and there's synergy for Edge having the main title on SmackDown, considering that's where he, sort of earned his stripes in WWE. I totally get that as a singles performer anyway, so it makes sense. But at the same time, I think you could do lots of different stuff with Roman. You've got options in the other chamber match we're going to talk about here in a minute, all kinds of options to throw at Roman, not that many to throw at Drew. So it kind of feels like at this point, the way he's been booked, that Sheamus is the best choice. And dude, I'm okay with that. Whole lots of people wouldn't be because they hate Sheamus. I'm like, let me get this straight. The only thing Sheamus has ever done is everything you've ever told him. He's been mean and nasty when you told him to. He's been a great guy and a good guy when you told him to. And he's done both equally well. So the whole concept of I don't like Sheamus because of X, Y, and Z, well, then maybe that's your hang up, not his. Because to me, Sheamus is a credit. I'd have Sheamus in my locker room any day.
Yeah, I think it really goes back to Daniel Bryan with Sheamus with the fans. And honestly, people got to get over that. He killed him in a minute. I know everyone doesn't want to get over that thing, but Sheamus, as far as credibility when it comes to being someone that looks, well, I mean, he lays his stuff in for one thing, obviously, but he's a very credible competitor, and he gives off an intensity that a lot, he's got that JBL almost. I'm trying to think of like another person to compare to. Stan Hansen, credibility to him. He's a tough dude. He's very, very, like I said, stiff with his strikes and stuff like that, but it's credible. And I'm with you. If it's him and Drew McIntyre Mania, I can get over that. It's not gonna bother me. But when it comes down to Sheamus and fans, I feel like it always stems back to him and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stuff going on with that too. People thinking about history, and I totally get it, kids. I do understand. But like I said, I love Sheamus, and I love him in that spot. I mean, the ideal pairing would be, have Heyman sort of go for the throat, and then suddenly put Heyman with Sheamus, and then Sheamus has got an unbelievable rub going into Mania, and then it's Sheamus with Heyman by his side, and Sheamus becomes, WWE champion, and then he manages both world champions. That would be huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but
It'd be fun.
It would be fun.
Nathan says, y'all aren't thinking about WWE booking. Lesnar will show up as an unannounced entrant and squash everyone in 30 seconds and leave with the title. I don't discount a thing you just said, kids, at all.
I could totally see it. And here's the thing. There's a good chance Lesnar might be the guy going against Drew McIntyre. I mean, Drew did beat him last year. And if Vince is going to beg, Lesnar to come back, I could totally see it going against Drew to either put Drew over to make him that much bigger or to beat Drew, because he knows that if you put the title on Brock, there's people tune in for that. Even though people hate Brock Lesnar, Tom, we all know that he's a draw.
They hate Brock for all the wrong reasons. If they hated Brock because he hates Brock doesn't hate. Listen. Oh, I get tired. Brock does not hate pro wrestling. If he hated pro wrestling, he wouldn't be in pro wrestling. Do you do what you hate? I mean, I guess if it's your job, maybe that's a dumb question. Maybe you have to do your job. I get it. Brock doesn't have to do pro wrestling anymore, kids. He hasn't in a long time. He does it because it pays him and because he's fairly good at it. All right. So he doesn't hate pro wrestling. If anybody wants to hate Brock, instead of hating Brock, hate Vince, because Brock's not doing his own booking. As far as I know, Brock doesn't go, because I don't know, I'm not behind closed doors, kids, but as far as I know, Brock doesn't go to Vince and say, I'm going over every time, I squash everybody, I don't lay down for anybody, make it happen. Now, as far as we know, Dane, he's not doing that. So if he's not doing that, people throw their hate at the wrong guy here. Totally.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And not only that, like, people need to get over this whole entire Brock can't do a match with blah, 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 because Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, he's had incredible matches with all those guys. They were all smaller. He wanted to work with all of them. Here's the thing. I don't think this is like what people considered with Cena, and definitely what happened with Hogan before with politicking. I think Brock Lesnar, and this is what I was trying to go at beforehand, this is a job for him. He goes in, does what he's told. He knows he's not going to be used in any type of small capacity that Vince would not want to make him look bad or anything like that. If he's going to get thrown out by Drew McIntyre at the Royal Rumble, it's because he's told to do that, and he does that. I don't think that there's anything else about it. It's not politics. I think that Brock is just a credible person to put the title on, much like how Bruno Sammartino was towards Vince's father, Vince Sr. I think that that's someone that he goes back to because he knows that people will watch Brock Lesnar that are not your average wrestling fan. And I feel like wrestling fans in general don't understand that scope of things. Why is Bad Bunny on this? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Bad Bunny, I might not know his music or stuff like that, but I understand the reasoning of WWE or an AEW bringing in someone that's not a part of wrestling, because they're not trying to go for me or Tom. They're trying to go for everyone out there to come and watch because, well, they're not. So Brock Lesnar equals viewership. I understand business.
Speak for yourself, brother. My phone's blowing up. Did you hear that? That was Vince right there. I'm just kidding.
What are you doing? You're fired.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't get the hate for Brock. I totally get it. I just don't understand it. I don't get why people point at the wrong person. Victor says, do you see the Miz cashing in on this match? Dude, Miz's time is ticking. Is he just going to formally announce it for WrestleMania, or what's the deal?
I hope he had cashed it in for the 24/7 title. I don't care. I'm so sick of this. You can see, like you were saying, the concept of, well, Vince doesn't book in advance. The whole entire briefcase proves that, because Miz taking it away from Otis. Now Otis is a heel. I don't know. It's so bizarre to me. It was such a waste of time, such a waste of pay-per-view. It was the year before that. And if you want to make it meaningless, put on Miz. And it's not because I hate Miz. I think he's good on the mic. I really do. I think he's gotten better and better in the ring. He's one of the biggest stars, and a lot of people don't want to hear this from his era. I mean, I hate to say this, but people outside of wrestling, another thing that I talked about beforehand, will know Miz, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, John Cena, obviously from that chunk of era, the early 2000s, or the early 2010s, I mean, the late 2000s. And I just don't think Miz has been built well as of lately, and I don't want to see him cash in on anyone. But I also don't want the briefcase itself to look crappier than it already does. So I don't know. Maybe he'll cash it in, but if he does, God, I hope someone just takes him out really quick. I don't want to see that.
Dave Grohl was the drummer of Nirvana. Yep. And for years, Dave Grohl was the drummer for Nirvana. And when Kurt Cobain killed himself, everybody said, well, Dave Grohl is the drummer for Nirvana. But now they know Dave Grohl is the lead singer of the Foo Fighters. I feel like The Miz is in the same boat. The Miz is the drummer. He's not a lead singer. You appreciate what he does because he keeps rhythm. He keeps everybody on time. He keeps the band together. He keeps everybody flowing. But you can't picture him taking the mic at the front of the band. And through, like you said, no fault of his own, but that's what I'm looking at. For me, it's a Dave Grohl situation. We all knew he was talented. We didn't know he was this talented. I think we all know Miz is crazy talented, but I'm with you. When I look at him, I don't think, oh, there he is again. I just think, why don't I want to see this guy with the title? Not that I don't want to see him with it, but I'm not like, oh God, just put it on him. I just have never, I feel that way about some guys, but for him, I'm like, here's an idea. Put Flair with him. They teased the life out of it a few years ago. You know what? Maybe that's the answer. That's who you put Flair with. Lacey's going to be out. Put Flair with him. He wins the title. Bam. There you go.
If you were to do that, I like that idea. I would actually suggest doing a Horseman style concept before AEW does it, because you know that they're thinking about it, and do him, John, whatchamacallit, Dolph, and Bobby,
Rude.
Because all of them are really good friends in real life.
Yes.
They could definitely do that, and Ric Flair be the one who kind of, takes them in, and they have the rights to the Four Horsemen. They can actually literally call them, unlike AEW, the Four Horsemen, with Rick as the oh man, I can't think of his name.
JJ Dillon.
Thank you, JJ Dillon of the group. That would be pretty good and give them all a good rub. I just don't see him doing that because, unfortunately, Miz is more of someone to get comedy over in their eyes, and that's killing John Morrison even more so. I mean, especially Morrison. I hate to be, go back on this. Morrison, and I interviewed him at this time. He was the Latin American champion, AAA. He was the world heavyweight champion, the mega champion, the one that Kenny has right now, and also the cruiserweight champion, and also at the same time had the Lucha Underground champion, all at the same time. He was one of the biggest heels in Mexico. He was great in Impact for that duration of time. He went to WWE, and now he's Mrs. Lackey. And it just completely I don't get it.
And they could, dude, this could start a whole other thing for the four of those guys, and then eventually they turn on Miz. Maybe they turn on Miz, or they turn on Morrison within the first month. And you think, Morrison's not in this after all. They put someone else in his spot. And then it becomes Morrison gets all this, the rub from it's Morrison against his former best friend and these three other crazy talented guys. And then it's sort of Dusty versus Rick and the Horsemen again. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there, but I don't know. I feel like everybody armchair books. We do it. Everybody does it. No harm in that, kids. It's fun. Nathan says Mrs. Heat comes from the fact that Maurice is his wife. There's probably some truth to that because people are like, wait a minute, how did you? Because Maurice is a bombshell. I think we can all agree on that.
I'm a Maurice. Oh, sorry, that sounded too much like Borat.
Yes. And I know Nate's joking, but I get it, and it's just one of those things where it's like, again, when I look at him, I don't know if I see, but put Flair in the conversation and a faction, I'm down all day long. The second chamber match that's going on tonight, Kevin Owens versus Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro versus Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. With the exception of Uso and Corbin, I believe that the other three gentlemen in this match, any of the three could possibly win, with maybe except for Zayn. So maybe it comes down to Bryan and Owens and Cesaro. Who do you got in this match, man?
Here's another situation. It seems like they're going with Roman and Edge at Mania.
Yeah.
So if anything were to happen for this, I feel like it's going to be at the next pay-per-view. I don't know which one's next. The one for March, leading up to Mania, obviously. But I don't like. I love Cesaro. I was a big fan of him and Chris Hero as a tag team back in the day at Ring of Honor and stuff like that. I hate the way Cesaro's been handled, but just to like jump him up front, and even if he's been cutting great promos on talking smack and whatnot, it's still not enough for me. So if you want to give him a good rub, he's going to lose to Roman though at the next pay-per-view. It seems like the best people to put up would be either Kevin Owens and Daniel Bryan. Personally, Daniel Bryan I thought was going to win Royal Rumble. I love that Edge did. I'm not one of those people like, older person. It's like most of the people are saying that wanted Daniel Bryan to win. So
Right.
What, they're both legends. They're both people that, are not brand new people in wrestling. I love the idea of Daniel Bryan and Roman at Mania. I really did. I'll take that as the next pay-per-view because I feel like it's going to be Seth Rollins against Daniel Bryan at Mania, based on the fact that Seth took him out. Daniel was the first to leave the group when Seth was doing his little tirade, still being a heel. I feel like they're going for that. And they could even incorporate that with maybe Seth screws him over, him and Roman have an understanding since they're both heels and they used to be best friends, something like that. So that would be fine. Kevin Owens, though, I love KO. But KO has lost, even if it has not been his fault, every single time. So if you're positioning this for another pay-per-view or even Mania, Kevin is going to lose. And I don't want Roman to lose the belt. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of people don't want to hear this. I want Roman to beat Edge at WrestleMania and have the title for another friggin' year and go against The Rock at the next Mania if they can get that worked out. I think that he's awesome in the position he's in. But, yeah, if I were to go with anyone, Daniel Bryan. But if it's going to be just a waste anyways, I guess Cesaro could do it. I guess Kevin Owens could do it. I agree with you. Those are the three that I would suspect would end up inevitably winning.
We've got some votes in the chat for Cesaro. Cesaro's a favorite, man. Let's see. Brandon doing good, man. Brother, you missed the whole show, Brandon. You missed a whole hour and 8 minutes of goodness, my friend. Shame on you. Stick with us, kids. That's right. Stick with us, kids, till 6 or till 7 o'clock. Excuse me. And then we'll be out of here at 7 so you can go watch the show. By the way, the kickoff show for Elimination Chamber is happening right now. The Fatal 4-Way is going on. No one has won as of yet. It started a few minutes ago. We will update you as time goes on here. Yes, we have some votes. Matt says Roman wins. I agree with you. Yes, Fastlane is the next event. Sunday, March 21st on the old boy's birthday. That's right, kids. Be sure to buy your gifts early. The mail takes a long time now. So there you go. Yes, all my shelves are full of the pop vinyls, but I can get more shelves. No, never you fear. So everybody get your wish list cracking for old Tom. There you go. Let's see. The idea of, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, the idea of Rock versus Roman, I don't hate it, but Roman doesn't need it. No. Roman might have needed it 2 years ago, 3 years ago. He doesn't need it now. And Rock's schedule, the guy just had a brand new TV show premiere. It's not bad. And Rock is the busiest guy in Hollywood right now. He's got so much in the works in the pipeline. I'm not going to say I don't want to see it, but if I don't see it, I'm okay with it. I wanted to see Sting versus Taker, and they never gave it to me. So because they never gave it to me, I'll just have to live with that. But if I go the rest of my life without seeing Roman versus Rock, I'm fine with it. I don't understand the need. Some people have a desperate need to see these guys work, and I'm like, okay, I don't know. I don't know if I get it. You know what I mean? Nathan says Rock versus Roman would be boring. I think
there's a good chance.
There's a good chance. The psychology of it would be great because they're both extremely smart. But, the Roman works a slower, methodical pace now, and Rock's not going to be running a marathon through the match anyway.
No. So it's been 8 years since Rock's been in the ring?
It'd be like Triple H and Batista, where it's a very calculated street fight kind of match. Maybe I don't know. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. So, the winner of this match, as we know, kids, is going to face Roman later tonight for the title. And this is the last thing we got to talk about here. A couple more notes before we take it home. I'm with you, and basically, I'm just going to rehash what we kind of both just agreed on. I think it's way too early to take it off Roman. I do think there's more of a chance that Drew will face, or that Roman will face Edge than he will face, than Edge will face Drew. I think you can make a case for either guy. However, for my money, I think the smart money is on Edge versus Reigns at WrestleMania. And I think you could give it to Edge, but you just give it back to Roman. And I think you can do that maybe 2-3 pay-per-views down the road. And supposedly, according to Edge, from everything he said, that he's going to be there every week. This isn't a part-time deal. He's committed, and he's going to be there all the time. So I don't know if he has an end game in sight, and if he doesn't, that's fine. I've always said as long as Edge is healthy and he's okay and his family's okay with him doing it, and he's all right, go with God, have fun. You know, I've never faulted anybody for wanting to come back and do this again. I don't care. But I think he and Roman could flip the title back and forth a couple of times, man. I don't think there'd be any harm in that. Plus, I talked about Roman didn't need to face Rock. He don't really need to face Edge, but it'll do nothing but help build his legacy. And if you want to talk about a legend killer, I mean, Roman's shaping up to be the legend killer of this company right now, you know, especially if he takes out Edge.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that will help out Roman even more so. As much as it's interesting for Edge to go against Drew McIntyre, like we both stated, and probably would help out Drew quite a bit, or him against Finn, or him against Karrion Kross, whoever has the NXT title by then. It looks like it's going to be him and Edge, Roman against Edge, and I think that Roman needs to go through him. I don't care if you even get Christian involved in it. Or Jay for that matter within the match. I feel like there has to be a time where Roman's got to keep on building himself. With this new heel turn, if they're going to turn him around eventually and become a babyface, we all said this, turn him heel. And I hate to say it, but I think we were right. I think that he's been way better, this version of him, especially with Paul helping him out. But even Roman, the way he's talking to people in the ring, even when he's fighting them, just the statements he makes, he's doing a great job. And I don't want to see him just taken down by a legend, even though I love Edge. And I'm glad that he's coming back to relive his dream. Edge has already had a title. So if that comes down to the two of them, I think that Roman should go over. But we'll see.
Yeah. And kids, to update everybody right now, John Morrison has won the Fatal 4-Way.
Ooh.
So that's different, huh? Could be setting up for something to come. I don't know if they go that route, but it might be interesting to see what happens. It's definitely something different. Don't know if I expected that going down, but yeah.
I wonder if him and Ricochet worked on anything that they did before in the past at Lucha Underground. They had incredible chemistry together.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, very true. Johnny Mundo. Do they call him Johnny Mundo in Lucha Underground, I think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Prince Puma and Johnny Mundo.
Yeah, there you go. Nathan says, Roman versus Nia Jax is the best way to turn him face. I agree with that all day long. Don't get me started on that, buddy. Woo.
My whole...
oh, my God, please. No, I can't handle it. Sugar Shane says Edge beats Roman at Mania because of the interference of the other Uso brother. The other Uso brother comes back. Oh, okay. Well, I don't hate that.
So Jimmy causes it?
Yeah, dude. Jimmy comes back and gives his brother a nod as if to say, I'm with you. We're family. And then bam, clips him. And then says, you've both disgraced the family. No one's got the guts to tell you, but look what you've done. Look, you disgraced our name. I mean, dude, that's some ballistic heat right there, man. I'd love that stuff. Let's see. Reggie says Bobby keeps the U.S. belt tonight. I think it's okay for him to drop it. I don't think he necessarily needs to keep it. What if he drops it to Morrison and then Miz tries to cash in as an unsuccessful, and then you've got heat between those two guys, and then ends up being Miz versus Morrison for the U.S. title? It's a way to go.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I wish, and I mean, it wouldn't be the greatest match in the ring necessarily, but I wish that they would do Bobby versus Brock, man. I think fans have been clamoring for that for a very long time. Those two big guys, just as Big E would say, slapping meat in the ring.
Bobby's been asking for this match for 10 plus years, and they won't give it to him. I don't understand why.
I think it'd be a better person than Matt Riddle.
Yeah, for sure. Brendan says, what if Christian turns on Edge and we have an Edge and Christian feud? I'd buy that. I think that's entirely possible.
That's fine, as long as eventually when Edge and Christian, either of them want to retire finally, we should get a WrestleMania match where it's them as tag team going against KO and Sami Zayn, maybe for a set tag titles way in the future. I think that would be a money match.
As long as one of them doesn't end up dead, because they'd all go full out to make that thing a hit for sure. So
Christian, watch out, or KO. Both of them are usually the ones to do too much craziness.
When Christian turned on Sting and TNA, I honestly didn't see it coming. He got me. I was like, "Wait, what just happened?" Like he turned on. Like, man, come on. So he got me on that, dude. They had me hook, line, and sinker on that one.
I wonder if Christian is related to Brian Cage.
That's a good question. I would guess no. You never know, kids. Hey, real quick, what about that powerbomb to Sting? I got to be honest with you. Supposedly it was Sting's call, and I'm not surprised by that. No one's going to pitch this to Sting because, out of due respect, you would never pitch this to Sting. No one in AEW would have ever pitched it to him. I'd probably bet the house on that. This was Sting saying, and look, I justified it in part on Friday's main event by saying this. If Sting's idea is, look, if I can't take a power bomb in a ring that has give from a guy that's going to protect me, I got no business having a street fight with anybody. If that's his idea, I'm okay with that because he's got a valid point, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know that I like it, but
I'm torn because honestly, Sting is my second favorite wrestler of all time, right after Shawn Michaels. 1995, 96 were a good year for me when I was younger, I guess, watching Nitro and WWE back and forth and Raw. But Sting, I don't want to see him get hurt. And I'm not saying that it looked like a fine power bomb. People were saying that he dropped him on his head. He didn't drop him on his head. It was a power bomb. He fell. He was fine. My thing is, if you're going to do that, why not make it bigger? Make it like it's like Sting's going to be, I feel, back on next week or the week after. He'll be fine. If you're going to power bomb Sting, you do it like with some type of impact, So if what I wish would have happened, this is similar to, I heard Jim Cornette and Brian Last. I know people don't like Jim Cornette, whatever. I heard them discussing this concept. You use it to really build something. You have Sting throw, the jacket at Brian Cage. Brian sells it a lot more. He punches Taz in the face. He goes after Hook, and then it's down to him and Brian Cage. And then maybe Hook kicks out his back leg. They take him on the grind. Brian Cage then does it. Announcers are like, "Oh my God, no, you can't do this to Sting. You can't." And then the impact. It just seemed like it was like the way that they've. I love AEW, but every week it was the same thing. Taz and his goons would show up, or Sting would show up with Darby Allin, and then they would talk crap. Sting would come out for Darby. It was the same thing every week. Choose your mileage, because to me, Sting's not someone you have to have there every week, especially if he's not going to do anything. It doesn't help Darby Allin. If they were going to do that, if Sting wanted to do that because Darby's out or whatever, at least just have it more impactful. It just seemed like it was like just flat. It was like, oh, he powerbombed him. No big deal. Next thing. Didn't think it was that great.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think he could have given him a power clothesline. I think he could have even grabbed him for the Scorpion Death Drop and then just laughed at the crowd like, "Hey, I'm mocking this guy. Here's your legend. I'm going to use his own move on him." You could have done that. It would have been effective. And who am I to second guess a Hall of Famer? Sting knows what he's doing. But at the same time, as a fan, I sit back and go, "Oh, God, please be okay. Please be okay."
We all saw the buckle bombs. Ugh.
Yeah, and that, I'm sorry. I don't know how you feel about it. That's a move that needs to go. When you can't see where you're going, and more importantly, when the guy giving it to you can't see where he's going, that's a dangerous move. Okay.
Yep.
And I've always believed that. I think the pile driver's safer, to be honest with you. I don't get it. I don't get why the buckle bomb is still a thing in any company. Kids, we've got 9 minutes until Elimination Chamber actually begins. If you're just joining us, you missed the show. Good night, everybody. So, if you don't know, now you know. Keith Lee is out of the chamber tonight, supposedly an injury going on with him. All the best to Keith Lee. Speed recovery to him. I'll be glad to see him back in action. There was a fatal four-way on the kickoff show tonight to determine who will take his spot, and John Morrison has won that match. So tonight it will be Bobby Lashley defending against Matt Riddle, Sumi, and John Morrison for the United States Championship. So if anybody's got any final words for us before we take it home, we're opening the floor up. Whatever you guys got, hit me with it. Reggie says, just bring back CM Punk to face Drew at Mania. Listen, I love Punk. I always have. I always will. I'll debate the merits of that guy to anybody that wants to, and they won't be able to convince me otherwise. That's just how my head's wired for Punk. He did it his way. He protected his body. He protected his livelihood, and good on him. Okay, we should all be so lucky is to end our career on our terms. All right. But I think the ship is hailed for him coming back. He's made it clear he doesn't care about wrestling anymore. I don't know if this will ever die by him coming back, dude.
I think if he's going to come back, it's not going to be WWE. I think especially I'm not going to get into political stuff, but what he said against Linda not too long ago on Twitter, I don't think CM Punk, if we were to be realistic about this, right now he's working with Stephen Amell in Atlanta for their new show Heels. Heels is a show about bad guy wrestlers. Cody is one of the main producers and actors that's going to be on that show. So if I were to think that CM Punk were to go anywhere, especially since he named his top 5 people he'd want to work with in AEW in an interview, it would probably be AEW and probably more beneficial. Because if they do it in WWE, I feel like they'll water him down, and this will just be a way for Vince to get back at him. Honestly, when it comes down to it, they'll sucker him into a contract, they'll give him a bunch of money, and then Vince will do what he wants with them, and Punk will be even more tarnished by the time he gets out of it. That's
and listen, if anybody's looking at Dane and thinking that look, what I said earlier about revenge not happening in the ring, I stick by it. Revenge not happening in storyline is not true. Revenge happens in storylines all the time. If anybody doubts me, go back and see how Eric Bischoff's run as GM ended on Raw. He was thrown in the back of a garbage truck. So if anybody doubts that was a statement against WCW, you're high on something that's going to get you arrested, kids. Because, listen, Bischoff's probably okay with it. Probably had a good laugh. He's not going to do anything he's not happy with and he's not agreeing to and he's not okay with physically. I get it. But the fact is, Vince had the last laugh. And it's okay, and everyone knows he had to, and it's all right. I'm just pointing out the obvious. To Dane's point, Vince will have the last laugh, especially on CM Punk, baby. But I always end the CM Punk conversation with this. Dude was fired on his wedding day via FedEx in the freaking mail. A calculated move from start to finish. I have no interest in going back to the company that fired me via FedEx on my wedding day, and neither should my wife. So that's how I always like to end it.
And that's another thing is that people don't bring up AJ Lee. If we were to get back Punk, I would hope that AJ would be right with her to be able to develop a female division. And the one over, at AEW could use a veteran like AJ, I think. Absolutely.
Kids, we're going to take it home. In 5 minutes, the chamber starts. You're going to have just enough time to queue up WWE Network and go watch some awesome, fun chamber stuff. And hopefully not have too many moments of going, oh, God, what just happened? We're going to hope that you don't. Whatever the what just happened moment may be for you. I don't know. It's your call. So hopefully you enjoy the show. No, I don't get a kickback from Vince. There you go. But no, everybody enjoy the show. Dane, thank you for hanging out tonight, man. I do appreciate you. Let everybody know real quick again where you are so they can check you out.
Yeah, guys, sorry about the issues. Next time I'll hit my network with a baseball bat. Hopefully that will improve things faster. But you guys can find me, Wrestling Geeks Alliance. Search that on Google or go to our website, Geek Vibes Nation, We're on pretty much every audio platform. We do our shows on Saturdays. We've had a break, but me and my co-host Christopher Brother Ray Patton will be coming back strong Saturday to talk about this pay-per-view, SmackDown, AEW, NXT. We don't do Raw anymore except for updates for bigger things because it's abysmal. Apologize if you like Raw, but definitely check it out. And Tom, thank you so much for being a part of Geek Vibes. You know, like I said, as someone that started it up many years ago, I appreciate someone that likes wrestling. And bad connection aside, I hope to be back in the future and to have you on our show at some point soon in the future, man.
Absolutely, man. We'll continue to do some cross-promotional stuff here shortly. I look forward to it. Dane, don't go anywhere. I'm going to take you off the screen. We're going to say goodbye to the kids. Once again, Dane, thanks for hanging out. I'll be right back with you, my friend. All righty, kids, there you are. Tom Clark's Main Event, episode number 215, is in the books. You got a show to go watch. You just watched a show. We hope you had fun. Listen, I'm going to say goodbye to you. If anybody was wondering, yes, we're going to be back Friday as always, live, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Wrestling Rumors Facebook Live. There it is for Tom Clark's Main Event, episode number 216, baby. You can't beat it, right? In the meantime, have a good rest of your weekend. Enjoy the show. Take care of yourselves out there. Wear your freaking mask. Don't be an idiot, okay? Let's get over this thing so we can all go back to watching live wrestling in person. Please and thank you. Do the right thing. In the meantime, let's get out of here. Thank you again to everybody for checking us out. We'll see you next time, kids. Everybody have a great week. See you Friday. Tom Clark's Main Event.